Hello everyone, welcome to the 7th session on acids, bases and salts. In my previous video, what we have discussed is about the electricity, yes or no? Acid solution conducting electricity or basic solution conducts electricity. And when does a solution can conduct electricity, how it can conduct electricity, which type of solutions do not conduct electricity, all these things we have studied. And also we have seen how acids can give H plus ions when they are put in water, and bases can give OH minus ion when you put them in water. Okay, so all these things we have discussed in the previous class. And in the previous class, we also discussed one particular word, that is dilution. Dilution, isn't it? We came to know what was this dilution means. So what is this dilution? Mixing of acid or base with water is called dilution, right? Mixing of acid or base with water. Mixing of acid or base with water. This process only we will call it as dilution. Okay, and now this class we are going to deal more aspects about the dilution. Okay, two types of solutions are there actually based on the dilution. We are going to discuss about those two types of solution. And also we are studying something about pH. Okay, so this is what we will study in today's class. Okay, and coming to the concept of dilution, we all know dilution is nothing but it is just a mixing process of acid or base with water. Whenever you want to make acidic solution, you take an acid and slowly you will add it to water, and that mixing process only we will call it as dilution. Isn't it? Okay. And now try to remember there are two types of solutions. Okay. One is dilute solution. Dilute solution. Solution may be of anything. It may be acid solution or basic solution. Whatever may be the solution. Okay. You have two types. One is dilute solution and another one is concentrated solution. Concentrated solution. So what do you mean by dilute solution? Dilute solution means more amount of water is present, okay, and less amount of acid or base is present. Here everybody, whenever you are making a acid solution, imagine I have a beaker. Okay, so in this beaker I took only 10 ml of acid. 10 ml of acid, but I took 50 ml of water. 50 ml of water. 50 ml of water. So this is the solution that contains 10 ml of acid and 50 ml of water. See, amount of acid is very much lesser than the amount of water. Yes or no? Then in that case, this solution is called dilute solution. Okay, dilute solution in the sense more amount of water will be there and less amount of acid is present. Acid or base, anything. Okay, and coming to concentrated solution. Say opposite if I take, I will be taking 10 ml of water and 50 ml of acid. Okay, so here is the solution which is having acid. It is a mixture of acid and water. How much amount of water I took? Only 10 ml. How much amount of acid I took? 50 ml. See, more amount of acid or base and less amount of water if you observe, then such a solution is called concentrated solution. Okay, so this point of difference is very, very important to understand. So you should know the meaning of the word dilute and you should also know the meaning of the word concentrated. Okay, dilute means what? Very, very less powerful solution. That means acid or base that you are taking is very, very less compared to water. Water amount is high. Okay, acid or base amount is very, very less. Such a solution if you prepare, we will call it as dilute solution. Say in case if acid or base amount is very much higher compared to the amount of water, then such a solution, concentrated means what? More powerful, more strong. When does the solution will become more strong? Whenever your chemical is more, it may be acid or base. If you take it in more amount, and for that if you add very less water, such a solution we will call it as concentrated solution. Okay, and now you should understand the meaning of the word concentrated acidic solution, concentrated acidic solution, and dilute acidic solution, dilute acidic solution. So what is the difference between concentrated acidic solution and dilute acidic solution? Concentrated acidic solution, what does it mean? We all know concentrated in the sense what? More amount of, it's acidic solution. So more amount of acid is there, more acid is there, and less water is there. Yes or no? Then how many H plus ions may be present? More or less? More amount of acid when it is there. Acid is the one that is giving H plus ions, no? Yes or no? So concentrated acidic solution will have more amount of H plus ion. Remember, more H plus ions would be present. Okay, that means in other words, what we can tell is concentration of H plus ions is more. Concentration of H plus ion is more. So here the word concentration also means amount. Okay, so in concentrated solution, amount of H plus ion is more. Why do you find more number of H plus ion? Because more amount of acid is there, less amount of water is there. Yes or no? When you have more amount of acid, automatically acid is the one which gives H plus. When more acid is there, more H plus ions you will find in a solution. So in other words, we can also tell concentration of H plus ion is more. Okay, so whenever I say concentration of H plus ion increases or it is more, that means the solution is concentrated solution. Okay, fine. And what about the concentration of H plus ion in dilute acidic solution? Dilute in the sense what? Less acid is there, more water is there, yes or no? Then will the H plus ion concentration becomes more or less? Definitely. Here H plus ion concentration is less. Yes or no? H plus ion concentration is less. Concentration in the sense what? Number or amount. Amount of H plus ions are less. That is the meaning of this sentence. Okay. Amount of H plus ions are less. Can you tell me why amount of H plus ions are less? Because less acid you have taken. When you have less acid, lesser acidic molecules are there. So lesser number of H plus ions only will be there in a solution. So that particular thing only, in another words, I can say it as H plus ion concentration is less. In which solution? In dilute acidic solution. Okay, so remember, concentrated acidic solution will always have more H plus ions. Okay, and dilute acidic solution will always have less H plus ion. In other words, we say H plus ion concentration is less in dilute solution and H plus ion concentration is more in concentrated acidic solution. Okay, so similarly, what do you mean by concentrated basic solution? Basic solution. What do you mean by a base? A base is a substance that will give OH minus ions in water, no? Base is a substance that will give OH minus ions in water. So, what do you mean by concentrated basic solution? More base will be there and less water will be there. Yes or no? Now, how many, like, can you tell me about the concentration of OH minus ions? Will it be more or less in this case? Definitely more, isn't it? So, what do you say here? Concentrated basic solution contain more OH minus ions. Contain more OH minus ions. In other words, what I can say? Concentration of OH minus ions is more. So here concentration is nothing but, what is the meaning of the word concentration? Amount or number. So what is the meaning here? Number of OH minus ions is more. In which type of solution? In a concentrated basic solution. Clear? So similarly, dilute basic solution means what? Less base is there plus more water is there. Yes or no? Such a combination we will call it as dilute basic solution. So here, what about the concentration of OH minus ion? That is number of OH minus ions. Will it be more or less? Definitely less, isn't it? Because less amount of base you have taken. When number of base molecule is less, then automatically OH minus ions in that particular solution is also less only, isn't it? So what you will say here, this particular solution contain less OH minus ion, less OH minus ions. In other words, what we can say? Concentration of OH minus ions is less. Yes or no? So these meanings are very, very important to know. Okay, so whenever I say concentrated acidic solution, automatically it should click in your mind that, oh, concentrated acidic solution means more number of H plus ions would be there. Okay, remember, more number of H plus ions would be there. Or in other words, what we can say? Concentration of H plus ion is more. The moment I say dilute acidic solution, what you should understand? Concentration of H plus ion is less. Dilute means less acid you will be having in a solution, isn't it? When you have less acid, less number of H plus ion would be there. And the moment I say concentrated basic solution, what is the meaning? Basic means OH minus ions would be there. H plus ions will not be there. OH minus ions will be there. So more base, more OH minus ions you will find in a solution. So that is the reason in a chemistry language what we say, concentration of OH minus ion is more. Okay. In the same way, dilute basic solution means what you will understand? In that particular solution, concentration of OH minus ion is less. Meaning the number of OH minus ion is less. Why concentration of OH minus ion is less? Because the solution is dilute. Dilute in the sense you would be taking less base and more water, isn't it? So these meanings are very, very important to understand. And now I am asking you certain questions. Be ready to tell the answers. Coming to the first question, read the question carefully. How does the concentration of H plus ions or H3O plus ions? I told you H plus can also be written as H3O plus. Why? H plus does not have its own identity. It cannot be present single. It is always present with H2O molecule, right? So you can write H plus as H3O plus also. So how does the concentration of H plus ions affected? When the acidic solution is diluted. Okay. So what is the meaning of this question? The meaning is, what will happen for H plus ions? of acidic solution when it is diluted. What do you mean by the word diluted? Water is added. Okay, water is added. You have some acidic solution. Okay, in that already some H plus ions would be there because it's an acidic solution. And from outside, you're adding some water. See, I have a beaker. I have acid solution. I have acid solution. Okay, this is an acid solution. Acid solution in the sense here already some H plus ions are there. And from outside, I am adding more and more water. I am adding more and more water. So when I keep on adding more and more water to this acidic solution, will the H plus ions increases or decreases? That is your answer. What will happen for H plus ions? Will the H plus ions become more in a solution or becomes less in a solution? Definitely becomes less in a solution, no? Yes. So initially some H plus ions are there and you are adding water. So volume of a solution would increase. So compared to the previous volume, now the volume would have increased. No, in that volume, the number of H plus ions will be decreased only than the number of H plus ions present in the previous volume. Yes or no? So what is your answer here? H plus ion concentration. H plus ion concentration decreases. H plus ion concentration decreases. This is your answer. Very, very important question. You should carefully think and write the answer. So whenever to a acidic solution some water is added, H plus ion concentration always decreases. But if I add some acid only, instead of water, I am adding some acid only to acidic solution. From outside also I am adding acid. So what will happen for H plus ion concentration now? Definitely increases. Already some H plus ions are there and from outside I am adding acid and that is also giving H plus ions once it goes to solution. So total number of H plus ions will be increased. Clear everybody? So this is a very important question. So you have certain acidic solution. To this, when water is added, number of H plus ions always decreases. To that, when acid is added, number of H plus ions always increases. Okay, so conceptual questions and you have more chances to ask questions like this for examinations. Okay. Second question. How does the concentration of OH minus ions affected when basic solution is diluted? So now what happens? You have a basic solution. You have a basic solution in a beaker. Okay, and from outside I am adding water. Diluted means what? Water is added. Okay, dilution means what? Addition of water. Fine. So what will happen for OH minus ions? Number of OH minus ions always decreases. I told you, no, whenever water is added, since it is a base, it will contain OH minus ions. So when it is diluted, OH minus ion concentration decreases. Okay, but when acid, say for example, when some base only is added, okay, instead of water I am adding base only to this. Okay, so what will happen? What will happen? That is what the question I asked you here. What happens for concentration of OH minus ions of a basic solution when some base is added? Okay, so whether the OH minus ion concentration increases or decreases, answer you have to post it in a comment box. Very important, don't forget to post the answer. Think it over and post the answer in a comment box. Okay, here already I actually explained you. Whenever some acid is there, again I add acid to this, number of H plus ions increases. No, the same concept here. You have basic solution, I am adding some base only. So will the OH minus concentration increases or decreases? Okay, so that is what you have to post it in a comment box. Okay, and now in the next concept, what I am going to deal is, in my first video of this chapter, we studied about strong acids and strong base. Yes or no? Acids are of two types, bases are also of two types, strong acid and weak acid, strong base and weak base. And how do you know that which is a strong acid and which is a strong base, or strong acid or weak base? How do you differentiate between them? Say, to differentiate between acid and base, we have so-called indicators. Yes or no? Indicators are the substances which are used to tell whether something is acid or base. Now you have two acids with you. Both are colorless. Okay, one is strong and one is weak. And how do you know that which is a strong acid and which is a weak acid? To find out that, we are using a concept called pH. Okay, so pH is nothing but the strength of hydrogen ions. We are actually measuring the strength or the concentration or the amount of H plus ions. Okay, if a solution is having more H plus ion, if any acid is having more H plus ion, then it is considered as strong acid. If a solution is having less H plus ion, then such acid is considered as weak acid. Okay, so we are going to measure how many H plus ions are there in which of the solution. Okay, so this is what we call it as pH. So with the help of pH, we can always determine whether some acid is strong or weak. In the same way, we can also determine whether a base is strong or weak. Okay, let us see how we can determine using the pH. See, pH is always written like this, small p and capital H. So here P means power, okay, H means H plus ion concentration, that is number of H plus ions present in a solution. Okay, so we are actually measuring the power of H plus ion. Okay, so the strength of H plus ions is what we are going to find out. If you have more H plus ion, then what does it meaning? That particular solution is more acidic. If you have less H plus ions, then that particular solution is less acidic. Okay, similarly, OH minus concentration also can be found, that is called POH. Anyway, now let us talk about pH only. Okay, so P means power, H means H plus ions concentration. So with the help of pH, we are going to measure the strength or power of H plus ions. Okay, and that power of H plus ions or concentration of H plus ions can be measured with the help of pH scale. With the help of pH scale. Okay, so pH scale will have a numbers ranging from 0 to 14. Okay, you will have numbers ranging from 0 to 14. Okay, you will have number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, it's a kind of a scale. You will have numbers from 0 to 14, and such a scale we will call it as pH scale, which helps us to measure how much amount of pH is there. Okay, actually, you know, in a market, whenever we want to check a pH, we will use something called pH meter. Okay, we will use an instrument called pH meter, just like a thermometer. Using a thermometer, you will check how much temperature is there. Yes or no? Thermometer, whenever you have got a fever, doctor will keep a thermometer under your tongue. Yes or no? So that the moment you open the thermometer, it will show some number, 98, 99, 100, 102. Like that, it will show some numbers, isn't it? So similarly, we have an instrument called pH meter. So pH meter, when you dip it in a solution, say for example, this is a solution. I don't know like whether it is acid or base, and if it is acid, I wanted to know whether this acid is strong acid or weak acid. Okay, so what I will do, pH meter, I will dip inside the solution. It will show a number in between 0 to 14. Okay, it will show a number between 0 to 14. So if we get a number 7, okay, then it means the solution is neutral. Okay, neutral in the sense it is not acidic, it is not basic also. Okay, so the solution is neutral. And if you get a numbers 0 to 6, okay, then it means the solution is acidic. Solution is acidic. And if you get numbers in between 8 to 14, okay, then the solution is basic. Solution is basic. Okay, below 7, always remember, if pH value is above 7, pH value is above 7, then it implies the solution is basic. The solution is basic. Okay, if pH value is below 7, okay, below 7, then it implies the solution is acidic. All these things you should note down in your book. That's compulsory. And if the pH value is exactly 7, then it implies or it says that the solution is neutral. Okay, so this is a very, very important information that you should always remember, guys. Okay, so if the pH value is above 7, the solution is always basic. If the pH value is below 7, the solution is acidic. If you get exactly 7, then it indicates that the solution is neutral. Okay, and now, okay, with the help of a scale, we got to know like which is acidic solution, which is a basic solution. Based on a number, we can able to decide. So no, if the value is above 7, then I can say the solution is basic. If the solution is below 7, then I can say the solution is acidic. Now, how do I know which is a strong acid and a strong acid or a weak acid? Right? Depending on the number. Okay. See, as the pH value decreases, from 7 to 0, you know, the more it decreases, the more will be the acidic nature. Okay. So remember these points always. Remember these points. If pH value decreases means what? Value is becoming below 7. Okay, if pH values decreases more and more, then it means the solution is more acidic. Solution is more acidic. Okay, so lesser the pH, more will be the acidic nature. Lesser the pH, more will be the acidic nature. Okay, so if pH value decreases more and more, then it means the solution is more acidic. More acidic means what? More H plus ions. More H plus ions you will have it in that acidic solution. Okay, so if acidic solution is having more H plus ion, then when you check its pH value will be very, very less. That means you will get the value in between 0 to 2. Okay, so usually if you get a value between 0 to 2, then we say such a solution is more acidic. And if you are getting a value between 3 to 6 or above 6, between 7, okay, then it means the solution is weakly acidic. That means it's a weak acid. And similarly, you know, one more point you have to remember, that is same thing. If the pH value increases more and more, here I'll be writing these points, you have to note it down. If pH value increases, it means the solution is more basic. The solution is more basic. More basic in the sense what? OH minus ions are more. That is, the concentration of OH minus ions are more. So these two sentences are very important to remember. If pH value decreases more and more, lesser the pH value, more will be the acidic nature. Higher the pH value, more will be the basic nature always. Okay. So here, if the value is in between 7 to 10, okay, then what does it imply? The solution is weakly basic. And if the value is between 11 to 14, then it implies strongly basic. Okay, so this is what you should understand from pH scale. Okay, so below 7 it is always acid. That too, if you want to know weak acid or strong acid, if the value is in between 0 to 2, more acidic. If the value is in between 3 to 6 or 7, weakly acidic. And if the value is in between 7 to 10, weakly basic. If the value is in between 11 to 14, strongly basic. Okay, so higher the pH value, okay, basic nature always increases. Basic nature more in the sense what? OH minus ion concentration is more. Basic nature less in the sense what? OH minus ion concentration is less. Acidic nature more in the sense what? H plus ion concentration more. Acidic nature less or weakly acidic means what? Less H plus ion concentration. These meanings are very, very important to understand to answer application questions. Okay, fine. And now we will do some experiments. Usually, in the laboratories and all, we will not be having pH meter. I said no, pH meter instrument will be there, and when you dip that in a solution, you will get a number in between 0 to 14. So if I get a number 5, then what does I can conclude? I can conclude that the solution is weak acid. Okay. If I get a number 1, I can say that the solution is very, very strong. In that more H plus ions are there. So no. If I get a number 10, what does it mean? The solution is base. That means OH minus ions are there. Weak base or strong base? It's a weak base. If I get a number 14, what does it mean? The solution is highly basic in nature. That means more and more OH minus ions are there. Okay. So like that, with the help of these numbers, we can always identify which is a strong acid, which is a weak acid, and also which is strong base and which is weak base. Okay. So as I told you, in the school level and all, this pH meters and all we don't use. These pH meters are used only during a research laboratories. So we will measure the pH value with the help of pH paper. Okay. Actually, pH is a universal indicator. See, with the help of these colors, say for example, see, if the pH is 1, you see that brown color. If you, I'll dip. These are actually pH papers. These pH papers, we will dip it in a solution. And if the color of the pH paper is changing to brown, then it means that the solution's pH value is 1. Okay. If the color of this pH paper turns red color, then it means the pH value is 2. If the color of this pH paper turns, you see, light green color, then the pH value is 7. If the color becomes, dark blue, see, dark blue, then the pH of a solution is 14. So with the help of these papers, okay, by their color changes, I can always compare the pH values. Okay, so this is our reference. We have to keep this colored reference values with us, and these are our pH papers. And these pH papers, we should dip it in a solution and check what is the pH value, and then decide whether that solution is weak acid or strong acid, or weak base or strong base. Okay, so now let us try to do the experiment now. So I have certain solutions with me. I have two different acid solutions. and 2 different basic solution also. So I will take 4 pH papers to test my samples. Okay, so this is how I am taking 4 pH papers, and this I'll keep it with me because I have to compare the color changes so that I can get to know the values, yes or no. So 4 papers I will keep aside. Now I will bring solution. I have water, plain water. First I will check the value of pH value of plain water. Later I have vinegar, I have lemon juice, I have soap solution, and we also have baking soda. What do you mean by baking soda? Baking soda means NaHCO3. Okay, now let us check whether they are acidic or basic. If they are base means let us also decide whether it is strong base or weak base. If it is acidic in nature, let us decide whether it is strong acid or weak acid. Okay, fine. First solution I am taking is, see, the first solution I am taking is water. Okay, let me dip the pH paper. See, pH paper, I am dipping it in plain water. Okay, I dipped it in plain water. Definitely, you know, some color color of the pH paper has changed. Now I will compare the color. See, where it is matching, to which color, to which number it is matching. Can you able to find it out where it is matching? Almost it is matching with 6 to 7, yes or no? Exactly, you can't decide. Approximate color you can able to write. See, this color change that you have observed in pH paper is matching with which color in the pH scale? Yes, somewhere around 6 to 7. 6 to 7. Okay, that means our plain water's pH is in between 6 to 7. 6 to 7. Okay, value will be very much close to 7. It will be 6.8 or 6.9. That means almost 7, right? So that what is the nature of water? Will it be neutral or acidic or basic? Definitely the water is neutral. The water is neutral. Okay, fine. So now we checked with water. Now I will take another solution. This is actually a baking powder, that is sodium bicarbonate solution I have taken. Okay, and I will dip my pH paper. Let us see what color it can change. Okay, see, now compare. What is the pH value? Compare the color, guys. What is its color? Almost it is matching with 8, isn't it? Baking powder, okay, baking powder is basic in nature because you see, it is matching with the color of pH value 8, right? So definitely, what is the pH value you have got here? 8.0. That means baking powder is basic in nature. And that too, can you tell me whether it is weak base or strong base? If you get a number 8, I told you, from number after 7 to 10, it is weakly basic. Yes or no? So it is basic in nature, that too it is a weak base. It is weak base. Okay, so this is how you have to check the pH. Just compare the colors. This is pH paper, you are dipping it in a solution, you get some color. So that color you are comparing with the numbers. Okay, different number is impregnated with different color. Okay, so with the colors you are comparing the color and finding out the pH value. So with the help of pH value only now you can tell whether it is strong acid or weak acid, strong base or weak base, right? So here, see, here the color is matched with exactly 8. So that means the pH value for this baking powder solution is 8. 8 means it is a weak base. Okay, fine. Now we will take one more solution, guys. One more solution we will take. See here. One more solution. This is a soap solution. This is a soap solution we have got. And I will take the pH paper. I'll take the pH paper and I am dipping it. Yes. Soap solution. Okay. So I dipped and see the color. See the color. To which number it is matching with? To which number it is matching with? Yes. It is also matching with almost 7 to 8, right? It is also matching with number 8. Okay. So pH value for soap is also 8. Okay. That means it is also weak base. Soap is also weak base. Soap is basic in nature. Fine. And now I'll take one more solution. This is actually lemon juice. The solution I took it is a lemon juice. We all know lemon has citric acid. Yes or no? Citric acid, it is an acid. Now let us check whether that citric acid is strong acid or weak acid. Yes. Compare the colors. Compare the color. With which color it is matching with? Which color? Almost around 3 to 4. Right? 3 to 4. The color is matching with the colors of 3 and 4. That means the pH value is in between 3 to 4. pH value is in between 3 to 4. So lemon juice, the pH value is in between 3 to 4. Now if the value is 3 to 4, can you be able to tell me whether it is strong acid or weak acid? It is a weak acid. It is a weak acid. Okay, weak acid. Now we have one more solution, that is vinegar. We have vinegar now. Let us check with the vinegar. Okay. Vinegar has acetic acid. Okay. Match with the color. And here also it is showing the color between 3 to 4, isn't it? So vinegar is also showing the value between 3 to 4. 3 to 4 in the sense weak acid. Weak acid. Okay. As in the laboratory, the concentrated HCl, H2SO4 and all, when you test, no, you will get red color and brown color. Okay. So those acids are very strong. When you test those acids, you will actually get red and brown color. That means they are very much strong acid. Okay, strong acidic nature they have. And these vinegar, citric acid and all weak acids. That means they have less H plus ions. Okay, weak acid means what? Less H plus ions. Strong acid means what? More H plus ions. More the H plus ions in a solution, darker colors it will show. pH value 0 to 2. If you get more acidic solution, more H plus ions. Okay, so this is how different samples we tested their pH with the help of a pH paper. Okay, and found whether they are neutral, weakly acidic, strongly acidic, weakly basic and strongly basic. Okay, so this is all about pH.